Sports. My name is Chuck Burge. I am the host of this with my co-host. Wait, you're not Robert?
I'm not.
No. Where did Robert go? Robert's on the beach in Jacksonville, so he's having a good time. Week off with his family. We welcome ATI back as our substitute co-host. Welcome, Adam.
Hola.
Hola. And we're here with our buddy Sean.
What's kicking?
You know what's kicking. The Masters is kicking, and Miller's Ale House is kicking. Everything. Sean was just telling us that packed out the last couple of days, and that's not typical for a spring break.
Yep, but hey, we'll take it.
You gotta love it, right?
Amen to that.
I think we're gonna have a pretty good crowd for the 7 o'clock show tonight too. I've got some people that are coming. Supposedly, they're supposed to be for this show too, and they're not here, so we'll see. What else is happening in Miller's?
Well, we've changed up our weekly specials.
So no longer crab legs on Wednesday nights?
Crab legs is going to be a full pound with 2 sides for $20, 7 days a week.
Oh, wow.
Also 7 days a week for $15. We have a 6-ounce sirloin with 12 Gulf fried shrimp, 2 sides for $15. Monday through Wednesday is $16 full rack of ribs with a side. And Thursday and Sunday are prime rib days.
Wow. Now, did you remember all that just to have it on the show, or do you know that off the top of your head?
Well, we got an email about it. Not that I read my email, but somebody told me, it's they don't really pay me enough to read email.
Yeah, been there, done that. I know that.
It's above my pay grade.
We get a lot of them. We get a lot. We have a large crowd here this evening. It's going to get even bigger, I would hope, as we get further into the night.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah. So a lot of people come out to watch Braves baseball?
Yeah. Beginning of the season, end of the season. Middle of the season, not quite
so much.
Cool. A lot of people, especially when it's a home game, the Braves are selling out the stadium a good bit. So.
Yep. Yep. Well, cool. Well, we appreciate you sitting in as always.
Cool.
And thanks for the club soda, brother. I appreciate
yes,
that.
sir.
All right.
Talk soon.
Yep. So I didn't tell you really what our show is about. Our show is about supporting guys that are going through physical and mental issues. That if we can take, here goes Sean right across the camera. If we can take, if we can take their minds off what they're going through for an hour, and you help people when they're down and out, then we'll all be a better place. This world will be a better place. We welcome back our good friend Dan. Dan, congratulations on being the winner of the Three Guys Who Love Sports inaugural bracket.
Oh, thank you. I mean, whenever UConn wins, that's when I win.
And I want listen to the crowd cheer for Dan. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So I want to present you with your $25 gift card.
All right.
From Miller's Ale House. So that's pretty cool. Tell us how you settled in on UConn as your champ.
I mean, so I'm from Connecticut, and that certainly does classify me as a UConn fan. And like when they have won in the past, the formula has been you win a preseason tournament or the championship in your postseason tournament.
Yeah.
And you're hot when you go to the postseason, and that was the case this year. They had 15-2 to finish the year, and 14-0.
Yeah, they
the
lost
start of the year, but
they lost 4 or 5 at one
6
time.
of 8.
6 of 8.
They were brutal in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
But they finished hot. They had beat some really good teams. They beat Alabama in the Phil Knight Invitational, and they won that tournament. So they had all those components. So the 2011 championship and the 2014 championship both had those pieces, and it just felt right.
Well, we were scheduled to talk about the girls' tournament first, but let's go ahead and get the guys out of the way.
Sure.
Because, I mean, there are a lot of good things. Is UConn now a blue blood? I mean, they've won 5 in the last 24 years. There's, 180 or something college basketball teams? For somebody to win 5 out of 24 years.
Adam, the Indiana fans' opinion of that.
I'm
Purdue.
not an Indiana fan.
Oh,
I am
Purdue.
not an Indiana fan. I am not an Indiana fan.
I don't think he's an Indiana fan.
I'm not.
Are they a blue blood? Were they a blue blood?
I think they're a new blood. How about that?
No, Indiana.
That's a good term.
Oh, Indiana. Indiana's not anything. Indiana's.
I think they were, and I think UConn currently
Can
is.
you become can you become an unblue blood?
Yeah, I think UConn was there in maybe 14 because they had 4 wins in 15 years. That
Yeah.
I mean, that was really impressive.
Yeah, so now they
And
they
then
got
the
another
American
one 9
Conference
years
just
later.
destroyed them.
Yeah.
I mean, to come back from where they were 9 years ago, it's pretty impressive to where they're at now.
I think no, but I think UConn's a new blood. I mean, I think you still got Duke, you still got Michigan State, you still got Kentucky.
Michigan State is not a blue blood.
And North
Absolutely
Carolina.
not.
It's
Absolutely not.
eh,
No.
and Kansas. In Kansas.
Kansas is definitely
So-
a blue blood.
Blue blood to me, you're saying Michigan State's blue blood because they're perennially around. They're always
Yes.
in it, but they only have 2 championships.
Yeah, Tom Izzo's a great coach.
He is.
I
He's
really like
fantastic.
Izzo. He's a great coach, but I don't know that I would categorize Michigan State as a blue blood.
But would you call UCLA? Because it's the same. They have 11, but the last one was 95.
Yeah, and they had, 7 in a row with Wooden, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's
That's a tough call.
The whole
I
conversation.
can't believe I'm saying this, but I really like Adam's terminology of new blood.
I do too.
Yeah. I think like Gonzaga, UConn, Baylor.
Duke.
But Gonzaga's not
Not
a new
Baylor.
blood. They haven't won anything.
No, but Gonzaga's perennially there. Like they are
Yeah.
they are one of the top teams every single year. They've made what?
Who beat
8
them this year?
straight?
Was it Kansas? No. Who beat
No,
Gonzaga?
UConn.
UConn.
That's
beat-
right. Yeah,
but
yeah.
but they've made what 8 straight Sweet 16s. Like to be able to make 8 straight Sweet 16s is crazy.
I would call them elite. I don't know if I would call them a blue blood.
I'm
because
not saying they're a blue blood. I'm saying they're a new blood with UConn
But I think you have to win a few championships to be a blue blood.
and that's fair.
Yeah. But I like the terminology. I really do. I like new
I do.
blood, an up-and-coming program. But the blue bloods, like the UCLAs and North Carolinas and the Dukes, they're the one that are perennially there, not just in the top 16, but maybe in the top 4, maybe in the Final 4. They just haven't been recently. But a lot of victories coming out of those schools, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. So let's take a little bit of this game. UConn beat everybody by double digits in the tournament, right? So very, very good basketball team. I was listening to a show yesterday. They said if you went out on the street today, if you walked out here in front of Miller's Ale House and talked to the first 100 people that said they were sports fans, how many of them could have named one player that was in the game, championship game on Monday night? I would say one out of 100.
I could have named a couple, but that's because I watched every game of the tournament.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
But
the average sports fan, I mean, Braves fan, sports fan,
Yeah.
but they probably couldn't name one player. Or
Yeah.
in the past. But is this a form of a weakened? I don't want to say it's a weakened Final Four, but a non-blue blood Final Four, or is it leading to something bigger? Is this the way that it's going to be? Because I looked at the number of transfers, and each school had like 3 or 4 or 5 transfers that played on these Final Four teams. Is that the way of the world now? I mean, is it going to be a one and done every year?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like free agency or other sports. You can change your team in the course of a year. UConn was good last year. They made it. I think they were also a 4 seed last year. They lost in the first round, but they added a couple of guys through the transfer portal who were excellent bench pieces. I mean, they were the reason why they would win the games the way that they did. Is they were 9 or 10 deep. So in the second half, Iona Iona was leading by a point, and then second half started, and UConn just took off.
But TCU did the same thing.
TCU
TCU built through the transfer
And
portal.
Kansas State.
And I'm talking TCU football built through the transfer portal, and they made the national championship game. TCU basketball also built through the transfer portal. So, and so did Miami. I mean, Pack was at Kansas State last year, and he got a huge NIL deal from Miami. But I think that's the way it's going to be now. I think you have to build through the transfer portal. It's kind of like free agency at this point.
Which I don't.
That's
hate
all
that.
the transfer portal is.
Yeah.
It's free agency of college sports. And I'm not happy about it, but it is
don't
what
like
it
it?
is.
Why don't you like it?
I don't want to get into the argument that people think that coaches can go anytime and players should be able to too. I'm just a traditionalist, I guess. And if Mark Price starts out at Georgia Tech, I expect him to finish at Georgia Tech. And the same thing now. If Chris Youngblood, perfect example of leading scorer at KSU, his coach leaves and there's their top 3 players left the next day. And I just think it's the way of the world. I don't think it's It's a new sports era with the transfer portal. I wish they do something about it. They're not going to.
No.
But it was
Too much money.
Yeah, and I don't know if I told you about this, but I have a buddy that went to Murray State, and the last time they made I think they made the Sweet 16 or top 32 or whatever, but the next day their coach was hired away, and the next day they had one player left. And he was a walk-on.
That was was that the 2019 tournament with John Morant?
Yep, when Ja left, where the coach got hired away. I can't remember where he went, but that's sad that you got one player on your roster.
Yeah.
2 days, but. And I want to use this to talk about Kennesaw State a little bit. You know, they went to the tournament this year. But no matter who they bring in here, and I know they're talking to a couple of assistants from other schools, but what if he's successful? It's the same thing. It's going to be the same thing. And I hate to credit it, but the Hawks are a very average basketball team. They always have been an average basketball team, other than the 1 year when they played a couple of years ago beat Philadelphia and lost to the Bucks in the Eastern Finals. But they were stuck in mediocrity. But these college teams that aren't the Blue Bloods or the New Bloods are going to all wind up in the same spot. They're all going to wind up in the same spot, and we're going to have nothing but transfer, play 1 year, win. So we may have another Final Four lax next year, very similar to this, where a North Carolina that's rated number 1 at the preseason doesn't even make the tournament. You know?
Well, I think what you have to remember about last year was that North Carolina really wasn't that good. They got hot at the right time. I mean, going into the tournament, they were what, an 8 seed, a 9 seed?
One of those.
They struggled in the ACC. They struggled in the ACC tournament. They got to the NCAA tournament and they got hot. They had the right players that hit shots at the right time. I mean, that's why they were ranked number 1. But I think then you saw again this year that they kind of played the way they did in the regular season last year.
Yep.
So I don't know that North Carolina is a great example of that, but
I don't think that they deserve to be in the tournament this year at all.
No, they didn't.
They didn't. And just like we talk about in college football, the preseason polls are a waste of time because they judge on a recruiting class or they judge on what they did last year, and that's just not the way it turns out. I mean, TCU, not in the final, not in the top 25 of football. They wound up playing the national championship. North Carolina, number 1 in preseason rank, they didn't even make the tournament. It's the new way of the world, I think, in sports, college specifically. Yeah.
But I think this Final Four was at least 3 teams who have been fantastic this year. UConn was great at the beginning of the year, and they were great at the end of the year. San Diego State has been fantastic all year.
They played a very strong schedule, too.
Yeah, and Miami was significantly underseeded. I mean, they had the ACC Player of the Year. I mean,
Didn't they win the ACC tournament, too?
So I believe they did.
They did.
Yeah. Miami was significantly underseeded. They had the ACC Player of the Year. They won the regular season. They won the conference tournament, and you stuck them at a 5 seed. So I'm not surprised Miami made the Final
Florida
Four
Atlantic
either.
was a 3-loss team.
Exactly.
Until
so
the Final Four.
Yeah. So I think going back, like 3 of the 4 teams are coming out of these brackets are not surprises. Like I'm not surprised San Diego State made it. I'm not surprised Miami made it, and I'm not surprised UConn made it.
I'm not either, to be honest. I almost took San Diego State in the bracket. One of my dearest friends wrestled at Central of Connecticut, and he's a big UConn fan.
Blue Devils.
Yeah, but I'm just curious as where this is way. Would not having preseason polls fix this?
No.
Okay, tell me why.
Well, college football, and maybe more so than college basketball. I mean, every year Notre Dame's in the top 10. Why? Why are they in the top 10?
Because they're Notre Dame.
Yeah, and then they lose
Exactly.
2 games in the first month, and then they're out of the top 25. It's just, I think preseason polls are a joke. I always just kind of shrug them off. Always.
I do too, and they're just there for the talking heads, right?
Yes.
They're just there so people have something to talk about.
During the post game on Sunday night or Monday night, UConn plus 1,200 to win next year, and they put it up on ESPN. Like, I'm not going to put that bet down today. No way.
No.
There's so many things that could change.
And that's it. It's just something to talk about. And and Vegas. The
Yeah.
money is out there always.
Yeah, I mean, right now, how many NFL articles are you reading where it's what's the off-season grading? A, B, C. I mean, that's all I can talk about, and that's what a preseason poll is to me.
Yeah, and
I
who
don't
would have
know.
thought 30 years, well, it's probably been longer than 30 or 40 years ago, we'd have a television channel that did nothing
Right.
but talk about sports. Yeah. One of my friends didn't think we could talk an hour about sports. Remember that, Larry? He said, we need to do 20 minutes max. I said, what are you talking about? I said, there are several channels that talk about sports 24 hours a day. I don't think we need to cut this to 20 minutes. So, congratulations to UConn and the Hurley family. Very, very cool basketball family there with Danny and Bobby and Bobby Sr. Congrats to Connecticut and congrats to Dan for taking home that $25 from Miller's Ale House. Very briefly, we'll talk about the girls' Final Four. No number ones in the championship game. Last time that happened was 2011. I think I saw that there was no number one in the thing. So no number one in the girls, no number one in the men's either. So again, a product of what's the word they use? Parity because of the transfer portal. That's just my guess. I mean, South Carolina had some beasts.
LSU is built on the transfer portal.
Oh yeah,
Big time.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Mulkey's a good coach.
Yeah.
The girls' coach there, and they did everything that South Carolina couldn't do on Friday night against Iowa. And I still think Caitlin Clark is the female Pete Maravich. I think she's an incredible basketball player, and I enjoy watching her. And Dan made a point. I think it was before we were on the air that 9 million watched
Yeah.
the women.
Yeah, 9+, and then
14
and a
watch
half
the
for
men's.
men. Yeah.
But the highest ever for the women and the lowest ever for the men.
Yep.
So, God bless them. Like I said, LSU deserved the win. I'm not happy with the way the officiating went, but they outshot Iowa. 102 points is a lot of points, no matter what college basketball game, whether it's a girls' game or guys' game.
That was the most points in a women's national championship game ever
Combined or by one team.
by one team.
Yeah,
Do they?
that's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive.
I was thinking the same thing, 102 points, but they're playing a quarter model.
Yes,
yeah, they
play
play 10-minute
More impressive.
quarters. Yeah, yeah.
To see that, I don't know. It's really impressive to have them go and over 100.
So I guess we're through with basketball for a while. Until we college basketball, until we get to the NBAs, right?
Yes.
Till we get to the finals or the playoffs, which are almost here. And we'll just real quickly say, I don't care if the Hawks get the play in. I don't care if they get the 8th spot. They're not going anywhere. And again, they're just stuck in mediocrity, and that's where they're going to be. I don't think they can get better. I don't think they can get worse. They just are where they are.
Do we want to mention something about the new NBA collective bargaining agreement and the in-season tournament?
If you want to, real quick.
The so the NBA signed a collective bargaining agreement this week.
7
Wow,
years,
that was
right?
hard to say. Yes. They changed some rules for awards. So to win MVP or offensive or defensive player of the year, you now have to play a minimum of 65 games.
Load management rule.
Yes.
Which
And,
I love.
And we're going to have an in-season tournament. We don't know all the details of the in-season tournament yet,
That's not going to help.
but it's going to be fantastic. It'll be like in soccer how they have the U.S. Open Cup or the Champions League.
I mean, they needed to do something different.
And they still do. I just think NBA is not the sport it used to be. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's get on to our first commercial of the day, Modern Image. Modern Image is a locally owned document and photograph scanning company that helps clients secure and use paper files and photos. Whether it's important business files or sentimental family photos and videos, Modern Image is dedicated to helping clients solve problems around paper.
Say it, Chuck.
Go Dogs. Yuck. All right. That still doesn't feel right. I still can't get used to that. All right. So let's move on to baseball. What have we learned the first week in baseball? Obviously, we have learned that the Braves are good. They're 5-1 so far. Who else is hot and who else is not?
The Rays are 6-0.
Yeah.
Only remaining undefeated team. And then the defending NL champion Phillies are 1-5 now.
Oh, they've won a game.
Mets are 2-5. It's I didn't see this coming.
I mean, there's 162
That's right.
games.
That's a long way.
It's a weird first
you
week.
can't
The
make-
Pirates are leading the division. Where's that coming from?
The Pirates are leading the Central? Wow.
Yeah, they just swept the Red Sox.
Wow. Yeah, it's way too early to say there's trends. I mean, people lose 3 games in a row in
Yes.
July, and nobody makes a big deal about it. But they
Right.
lose 3 in a row the first week of the season. It's, oh, my God, what's happened to the Phillies or what happened? It's a long season. Look at last year when the Braves, or 2 years ago, when they were about at 500 in June, and then they wax up and win the East and win the World Series. So baseball's that. Now, I think, Dan, you mentioned that there was a game yesterday that played in an hour and 58 minutes.
I did not know that.
That was Sean. Sean.
know.
said
Oh, that was Sean told us.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised, though. And
Yeah.
We're down to 245 is the average versus 311 last
Yeah.
year.
So do you like the new rules?
So far, the one that I like the most is the 2 step out the rubber twice and 1 at bat. Because when pitchers would throw over 5-6 times, it drove me insane. So, I like that. And you're locked in. Once you step up twice, you're locked in.
Who is the pitcher that I saw something on TikTok? Who was the pitcher that was playing with the rules where he kept rocking back and forth and doing some crazy long wind up to?
I haven't seen this
play with
guy in
the
the
pitch
Astros
clock.
that rocks back and forth.
Well,
Valdez.
I think he can rock all he wants, but he's still got to meet the requirements of the pitch
Well,
clock.
he was doing a crazy long wind up,
off.
which is why, when he was getting ready to throw the pitch, he did some crazy long wind up so that he could keep going
Keep going
longer.
over the 15
Yeah.
seconds or 20 seconds. Okay.
Yeah, I like the new rules. I think it's not an issue, but my biggest observation is if you've stepped off twice and you can't throw over, that guy on first, if he's got
I know.
any speed, he's gone.
So this is another little fun stat that I picked up. 21 stolen bases on opening day, the most since 1907.
Wow.
And I mean, it's been so far down. Last time I was on here, we talked about that. Stolen bases have been consistently going down every year for 30 years. Maybe it's part of the game again.
Do you think that the size of the base has anything to do with that?
I think that's more safety.
I do too.
I don't think it's the knowledge of when to run, like you're saying, when a pitcher cannot throw back over again, you take an extra step and go.
Yeah.
So that to me is an interesting change.
It is an interesting change. I think between that and the shift, I mean, nobody talks about the shift anymore because we just don't know, right? Yeah.
There will be teams that mess with that, though. I'm certain of it.
Yeah, because you can't have 2 guys on the same side of second base. I mean, you can't have 3 guys at the pitch, but that doesn't says that they can't move as soon as the pitch is made.
Yeah. And standing right behind second base as a shortstop is not the normal positioning either. But Joey Gallo is one of the worst pull hitters in baseball. I think he had 160 a few years ago, just terrible. All of a sudden, he's probably player of the week for the Twins. I think he's 5 home runs or something already, 4 home runs. He's
Oh, really?
killing it.
Is it Nestor Cortez?
For the Yankees?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I'll look for it now.
He had a really long wind up, I guess,
Yeah.
2 or 3 weeks ago to extend the pitch clock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought the ball had to be out of his hands by the time the
20
pitch clock, 20 or 25 based on whether somebody's on and off, right? So it's interesting. People seem to be happy with the shorter games from a sports purist. But the people that just want to go to the game and drink beer and sit out in the sun, do they really care how long the games are?
No, and the reason why I like baseball more than other sports is because I can do that. And then something interesting happens, and we were having this conversation for 20 minutes, and then, oh, wow, Olsen just hit a home run. Cool.
Yeah.
The days of people sitting in the stands with the scoring books, I think that's long in the
Yeah, we
past.
talked about that a little bit last week. That's what I did when I was a kid.
I've done it.
Marlon Longacre called me a nerd because I did it. I said, I'm not a nerd.
Yeah.
I loved baseball. That's what you did if you loved baseball.
Well, I can remember Fenway Park, when I was a kid, there was no in-game entertainment. So in between the innings, you're watching the team get ready, and you're paying attention to warm-up throws. And then
There's no running around the track and see who wins that race, and
so yeah, right. So that's 20 years ago.
no snuffleupagus and the San Diego chicken and all that stuff.
You know, I'm the original hammer in the Home Depot race.
Are you really?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
As an intern for them in 2009, I was the only person who could fit in that costume.
You were the intern for Home Depot?
No, for the Braves.
For the
I was
Braves?
a marketing intern for the Braves.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, that's tough life.
you
You don't want to be the hammer.
Did you ever fall when you were running?
If I did, we would have gotten fined from Major League Baseball because I wasn't getting back up again.
Oh, really?
That thing was so top heavy.
Oh, that's funny.
They had to redesign it, and the one now goes to about people's knees, but that one was almost down by my ankles. It was just
How heavy is that thing?
I'd go 50 pounds.
Really?
It's all heavy foam.
Yeah.
I also was an Aquafina bottle for the Devil Rays when they were still the Devil Rays.
Oh, that's cool.
The stuff you do as an intern, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's I knew I got a friend that used to be Buzz for Georgia Tech.
Wow.
And he loved that. You know her Burt Reeves? He's was a state representative. Now he works for Georgia Tech, but he used to be Buzz at Georgia Tech.
I'd like to be the person driving that old truck that they have.
Oh, the Ramblin' Wreck?
Model F or whatever it is, Model T.
Ramblin' Wreck?
Yeah.
That would be a cool job. I'd like to do anything at Georgia Tech. I'd wipe the sweat off the basketballs or whatever at Georgia Tech. That would be a great job. My niece actually worked there in the sports department for 7 years. So phenomenal. That's cool. I'd like to hear some more about those stories.
Yeah.
So we talked last week who we thought would win. Adam, you didn't get to give your opinion, did you?
No.
Who do you think's going to win the major? Who's going to be in the World Series?
The Braves and the Astros.
Really going on a limb on that one.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
I am.
that's my answer, too, to be honest.
Is it really?
There we go.
I'm going to still go with the Padres and the Astros.
I like it.
Padres got some hitters this year. That's with Fernando Tatis back and all. I think they're going to make some noise in the National League. They weren't bad last year, but I think they're going to win the National League. So we'll see. Baseball, like we said, it's a long season, and I don't know if it's too long or not, but it's a long season.
By the time August rolls around, you got a pretty good feel for who's like that question will be much easier to answer than it is today.
Yeah, it is. And what's the latest? They did put Freed on the IL, right?
Yeah.
Dating back to when he pulled the hamstring on opening day or whatever it was.
Supposedly, he'll miss 2 or 3 starts.
2 or
But
3.
Not terrible.
So it's 25 day.
Not 10 day. but
15 day. He's
15
on the
day.
15 day.
Okay,
It's it shouldn't be too long though.
cool. All right. Well, let's get another one of our commercials out of the way. We'll do Supreme Lending. Supreme Lending was founded in 1999 with one goal in mind, to improve the mortgage process. And since then, we have been doing just that. Here we deliver exceptional service and some of the fastest turnaround times in the industry. Our team will stay in touch with you throughout the process and get your home closed quickly and conveniently. Whether you are buying or refinancing, our goal is to have your loan cleared to close in 30 days or less, so that you can focus on all the other things that are going on. Whether it's your first mortgage or your 1,000th, make it supreme. Find us on the web at alvinjameson.com or give us a call at 865-357-6500. And we want to thank Alvin for being a sponsor, along with David McDonough from Modern Image. So those that know me really well know that Christmas is my favorite week of the year. But my second favorite week of the year is this week. Not only is it the end of the NCAA basketball Final Four, but it's the Masters. And to me, the Masters is I'm a very sappy guy, so I get very emotional at the end of the Masters. Will I live to see the next one? That's how much I love the Masters. And working from home, I never turn my TV on during the week until 5:30, unless it's a major golf tournament. And this is the week for me. So A lot of good things going on with the Masters. Have you ever been, Dan?
I've never been.
Okay.
I was invited in 2020,
Well, you should be shot.
and that should
not
tell
going.
you something. For 2020 being invited,
Yeah.
the city invited us.
Who did?
The city of Augusta invited me as a business owner because we were interested in expanding there.
Oh, wow.
And they weren't allowing anybody onto the course because it was COVID. So the city's function occurred at Topgolf.
Oh, wow.
I've been to Augusta for the Masters, but not to the Masters.
Yeah. I've been 3 times.
Oh.
I never knew that you could drive down Washington Road and look down Magnolia Lane because I never got that far down Washington Road. I always parked as soon as I get off the highway. But fabulous week. Do you ever watch it? Or
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So what's your favorite Masters memory?
Well, I think the 19 with Woods was my personal favorite. I mean, that was, 19 years between champions, or 14 years between?
14 years from 2005. Yeah.
And you didn't see that coming at all. But the first year I moved into, personally, the first year I moved into my home in Augusta, or in Atlanta, we set up the television outside. It was one of those perfect April 75-degree, no humidity, not like the coming weekend. And we just sat outside because we didn't have any furniture in the house. We were just sitting outside on the porch watching this TV and watching the Masters. It was great. That was good memories for me personally with the Masters.
How about you, ATI?
Well, this is my 4th favorite week of the year. This is going to be my going to the Masters for this is the 13th year in a row, 12th year in a row, 13. I don't know. I've lost count.
You're saying
yes.
to attend? Wow.
Yeah. My family has tickets. But my favorite Masters memory is it's a strange one. I think it was like 5 or 6 years ago. I was sitting on 13 with my dad, and we're kind of sitting in between 13 and 14. You know, there's the woods, and then down the fairway before the raised creek and the green. And so we're kind of sitting in between 13 and 14, and we get up to go get lunch, and we walk across 14 fairway, and Mike Weir had teed off on 14, and he hit it into the trees, and so we were kind of standing in the trees beside 14.
Left or right?
Left as you're looking from the tee. He
To the
hit it
green.
into the left.
On the high
trees.
end of the fairway.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we walk over there, and we're standing there with Mike Weir, and he hits his second shot, and he hits another tree, and it goes into 15 fairway. So then we walk all the way over to 15 fairway with him, and I think he eventually gets it on to 14 green. But it was just really cool standing there with Mike Weir as he's playing 14, and then I think 3 or 4 years ago, Rory McIlroy hit a shot from the top of the hill on 2 into this lady's purse, and she was like 4 people down.
I remember that.
So we got to stand there with Rory McIlroy.
That's pretty cool.
Your family has tickets.
Yes.
Am I assuming, Chuck, that your family does not have tickets? Just like
No, my family does not.
My personal favorite tradition for the Masters is receiving that damn email every October or whatever. Nope, you don't get tickets this year. Sign up again next year.
Yeah, I've got that too. Yeah,
That's a tradition unlike any other since
Yeah.
2008 for me.
it's a terrific. Yeah, it's a tradition like no other because it never happens.
One of
Well,
these
that's
days.
funny. Yep, I've been 3 times, and I'm blessed to have done that. I'd love to take my sons sometime. I think it would be a blast.
I've heard that like today for the par 3 is one of the most enjoyable days on course.
It's a harder ticket to get than
Is
you
it?
can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a friend that went Monday. I'm sure Rick Limpert's in the audience. Rick, you've been to the Masters, right? Yeah, many times. So it's a cool thing. You know, they did this thing Sunday night where they did a video game of playing the Masters, and they had like Eric Church, Josh Allen was there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, pairings with girls and guys, and they played the video game, and I can't remember who won. Eric Church and Rick Steele, I think. And but that's kind of cool, new tradition. They do things right at the Masters, no matter what they do, whether it's chip and putt. Whether I love watching the women's amateur tournament. Anytime I can see the Masters on my TV, I don't care what the event is, I'm going to watch it. And I've been watching live at the Masters on the tee or on the, what do they call it? On the practice area where they for 2 hours a day all week.
Yeah, they're warming up.
Yeah. I just love it. I just love everything about the Masters. I have found some interesting facts out about the Masters.
Anything about the food?
No.
I got one for you there.
I was
I
going
have
to
an
ask, had a
interesting
pimento
fact,
cheese
too.
or potato salad?
Cold chicken sandwich.
Okay.
I have an interesting fact. They have a palm tree on number 4.
Yeah, the only palm tree on the course.
Yes.
Yep. And what is the only hole with no sand trap?
The only hole with no sand trap. 1 has a trap. 2 has a trap.
I'm gonna go
3
through
has
them
a trap. 4
all.
has
Is
a
it
trap.
14?
5 has a trap.
Thank you, Dan. It is 14.
14.
Yes, it is 14.
Yeah, that makes sense. 14 has a trap.
I'm but a
14
man.
doesn't have a trap.
14 does not have a trap. So here's some of the other interesting facts that I learned this week. You know what Magnolia Lane is,
Yes.
right? Were they in?
Yes.
How many magnolias are on Magnolia Lane?
22.
122. There are 61 on each side leading down Magnolia
I
Lane.
got the first number. I got the second 2 numbers. I forgot to add the first number.
Yeah. When was the last par 3 contest with no ace on it?
Last par 3 contest with no ace. I feel like they talked about this today.
Oh, I did some deep research. Yeah, they did talk about it today.
2014.
No. 1991.
Wow.
So they've had at least one ace on the par 3 contest.
That-
And Rory never plays in this. I was so happy to see him in it today.
He's played a couple times.
He's got his little baby, and then when there was 3-year-old, it was really, really cool. How did Amen Corner get its name?
Oh, they talked about this today. I know the answer.
Well,
Go ahead.
fire away.
Well, it was from a song. I don't remember what the song's called. I think it's "Praying in Amen Corner" or something.
Shouting in Amen.
Shouting in Amen Corner.
Shouting in Amen
And somebody wrote a news article, and they called it Amen Corner, and they referenced that thing, and that's how Amen Corner got its name.
Yep. Who was the first person to receive a green jacket?
No idea.
Can I bet? Is it like the 60s or earlier than that?
Earlier than
Yeah,
that.
I'm not going to get you.
Sam Snead.
Really?
1949, they determined to hand out the green jacket. And not only that, they went back and gave a jacket to everyone that had won previously. But Sam was the first one to receive one in 49.
First year was what? 1931?
I
Sounds
thought
right.
it was 32, but I
32?
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. This is. I can't even read my own writing. Oh, how many amateurs that have stayed in the Crow's Nest? It was Crow's Nest is where the amateurs stay. Have gone on to win the Masters.
Not many.
6.
Close.
I was going to go with like 2.
8.
Is it 8?
8 have done that. Yeah. Seamus Power we talked about earlier today had 2 aces in a row today on 8 and 9. Was that the first time that was ever done?
No, it's been done 3 times previously. Once was in
No,
2000.
2 times previously. This was the third
Oh,
time.
this was the 3rd time.
Yeah.
Once was in the 90s. Once was
In the
2000. Was it 2006 or 2005?
I thought they said one of the time was in the 50s. So
I just know there was one in 2006 or 2005 or 2006. I wasn't really listening. I had a paper to write.
Did you know that the first place there was ever an azalea in the United States was at Augusta National?
I did not.
Yep. Yeah. So what was it? What was the Augusta National Golf Course before it was Augusta National Golf Course?
The Augusta National Country Club.
No, it was Fruitland Nursery.
Oh, yeah. And they actually, in the original plans for the golf course, there was plans for a 19th hole to do a playoff, but they never built the 19th hole.
That's right. Yep. So it was the Bertrand family that bought the land and sold it to Bobby Jones. Bobby Jones bought it in 1931. So that was pretty cool. So who is the only British Open champion that never broke par at Augusta National?
I have to dig deep for this one.
Oh, you will have to dig deep.
Not Louis Oosthuizen.
Nope. You're going to be shocked by this answer. Even ATI and his
Not
vast
Tiger.
knowledge of Masters.
Not Rory.
Is this what era would you call this? 'Cause he's all fresh, recent.
No, he's not. He's not recent.
So this is a past.
Yeah.
Bobby Jones.
Huh?
Bobby Jones never broke par
And his
playing
course.
in the
At
Masters.
his own course.
At his own
Wow.
course. Isn't that crazy?
That is.
That is nuts. Oh, I never did get to go over my favorite memories of the Masters.
No, you didn't.
Obviously, being there is just a thrill.
Mhm.
But Larry Mize's chip in on 11 when he beat Greg Norman. I mean, everybody talks about Tiger's chip in on 16, which was pretty phenomenal.
What about the time Tiger hit it to a foot and a half on 16 in 2019?
Yep, I remember that. But I think my favorite memory was from last year, and it was when Rory McIlroy and Colin Morikawa were playing together on Sunday, and they both chipped in out of the sand on the 18th hole for birdies. And it was Rory McIlroy said
was
in an interview
incredible.
this week, he said, "That's the happiest I've ever been leaving Augusta National," when he had actually chipped in on 18. He picked up 7 strokes on Scotty Scheffler last week, the last day. Just wasn't enough. And that's the highest finish Rory ever had, was second. So that was pretty cool. There was another one. I can't even remember what it was. So Scotty Scheffler had a hole-in-one on the par 3 today. Who was the last defending champ to have a ace at the par 3 concert?
They definitely talked about this today, too.
Yeah.
Uh,
You already said his name.
It's not
I
Speed.
already said his name. Well, it's not Tiger. It's not Rory. It's not Oosthuizen. I have already said his name.
Yep. Mike Weir.
Oh, Mike Weir.
Yeah.
What do you know?
Yeah, he's the last guy to do that. So
I love Mike Weir.
yeah. God, I wish I could read my own writing. So what can you tell me? Do you know the story about Scott Stallings? What happened to him this year?
No.
Scott Stallings' invitation to play in the Masters got sent to the wrong Scott Stallings.
I
Oh,
heard
I
about
did
this.
read
Yeah.
They sent it to somebody like Sea Island or something, which is where Scott Stallings lived, but they sent it to the wrong one. And the guy that got the invitation called him or texted him or found him on TikTok, said, "You're not going to believe this, but I got your invitation to play in the Masters." And he said no, he didn't believe him at first, but when he found out it was true, he got him some passes to the practice round or something. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I would have kept the invitation. I would
Just
have
showed up.
framed it. I would have said, there we go. I received an invitation to the Masters.
Yeah.
I've got a fun one.
Go
that's
ahead.
Not
You do?
related to the golf portion. I was reading my daily news today, and I don't know how many times that you buy 3 or 4 beers at the Braves game, and you come back and it's $60. The entire menu, egg salad, pimento cheese, barbecue sandwich, all of that stuff, $66. You could buy one of everything. There's 25 items, and it's $66.
I know, that's crazy. isn't it?
It's so cool.
They were talking about how the line was 2 hours long for the hospitality tent, for the
The food
concession
concessions.
tent, and he said a guy in front of him said he spent $10,000 in the souvenir tent.
Oh, yeah,
and
I
that's
believe
and
that.
that's
I
what
believe
took him
that.
so
Oh, yeah.
long.
On the
Oh, yeah, I
opposite end of
believe
the
that.
spectrum,
Yeah.
the polo shirts are about $160.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I've heard that they sell like boxed meals from Masters Concessions.
Yes, you
This is a
can
recent
you
thing?
can go to masters.com, I
Yeah.
believe,
And
you
order
can,
food.
You can order food, and they send it to you in like a cooler.
Since
It's really cool.
I don't suspect I'll ever win the ticket lottery. Maybe that's what I'll do one of these
Yeah.
years. Have it
You
prepared.
Believe me, it's a
You-
blast.
You get like
Yeah.
egg salad and pimento cheese and barbecue and some chips and some. You get like 20 cups though.
Yeah, I got this hat in 1985, and it was the last year they made this hat. So that's kind of what I've hung on. I had a bunch of hats, but I gave them to my sons for Christmas because I said you're going to get them when I die anyway, so you might as well get them
Yeah.
now. So I used to collect. I've got over 200 something hats. This is my third favorite. I've got a hat from. My son was in Scotland last year and brought me a hat from the old course that just says the old course on it, which is really cool. And then one of my poker buddies brought me a hat from the Ryder Cup in Brookline, Mass. in 1999.
Yeah.
So these are my three hats.
Right off the red line.
Yeah,
I've
absolutely.
seen that course more than probably any other top 100 in
At
the world.
Brookline? Really?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
drove past Whistling Straits up in Wisconsin, but I've never got to see the course. We just drove by the exit. That's cool. I was wrong about Mike Weir. I have a note here. It says last to win the. Who shot the lowest round to win the Masters on the last day?
To win the Masters on the last day, lowest round would be Arnold Palmer, wouldn't it?
No, but not a bad guess. That would be Gary Player.
Ah.
And here's the last trivia question I have.
Mm-hmm.
12 people have gone from have won the par 3 contest that eventually won the tournament.
That is not true. Well,
Never in the same year.
Never in the same year.
Never in the same year.
Never in the same
But
year.
they have won it 12 times and then went on to win it.
Mm-hmm.
And Mike Weir was the last one to do it.
There we go.
So you have very close connections with Mr. Weir, obviously. You'll
I-
probably be going up
me-
and telling him,
me
hey, do you
and Mike
remember me
Weir-
from 14 a few years ago?
Me and Mike Weir, we're just best buds.
The one time I went on a Friday, I think. I've never been on a Saturday or Sunday, but I went on a Friday. But it was my brother actually got to play with Jack Nicklaus in the Pro-Am at Atlanta National. Not Atlanta National, Atlanta
Athletic
Country,
Club.
No, Atlanta Country
Oh,
Club.
the club. Country
When it
club.
was Bell South or whatever it was then. And I walked around following him. And then the following year is when I got to go to the Masters. And I walked around with Barbara Nicklaus. And she said, I don't remember your brother, but Jack will. He never forgets anybody he plays golf with. So for me, that's a pretty good memory, too. Yeah.
That's an amazing memory.
Yeah, it is. So I'm very, very happy about the Masters being here, and I will be all thing Masters for the next 4 days, and maybe even beyond.
Hey, Robert, hold on a minute.
Robert's on the phone. So tell Robert we're going to do our commercial first, and we get into our picks.
Robert, we're going to do a quick commercial. And then
All right. So who we have left? We have Bearcat, right?
Yes.
Yep. All right. Do you need a delivery right now? As in, go now, please. Bearcat Express has expedited shipping on hand-carried items. Car, van, or pickup, whether it's from Memphis to Augusta, Atlanta to Athens, or Dothan to Charlotte, and all points in between. You've got the drivers to get your stuff where it needs to be, whether your passport's still on the dresser, your 7-iron isn't in your bag, or you have a dog that hates to fly. Bearcat Express, with their live tracking capabilities, is the team to turn to. We are the only go-to courier in the Southeast USA. Check us out at bearcatexpress.com. And thank you, Blair Cook. And Blair is in Augusta, and I still can't figure out why he's not getting me Masters tickets. So speaking of Masters, the Masters of all things trivia is on the phone with us, Mr. Robert Kinney. Robert, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. I don't know about that, but hey, I'll take it. I'll take it.
There you go.
API a lefty
Do what?
because this is API a lefty because this whole conversation about him and Mike Weir. I think he kind of looks like Mike Weir.
I'll take it.
I think you look like
I
Mike
could-
Weird.
I could pass for Mike Weird.
Yeah, you just have to learn how to say things like Canadian, like back in
Exactly.
grade 5.
And Hoser. I can't believe I hit that shot, Hoser.
Nuances down pretty good.
A boot the hoose.
A boot to who's. All right, so it is time, Robert. We'll let you listen to ours before we hear yours. It's time to announce your 4 picks. Now, we have a Masters.com tournament, just like we had for the NCAA basketball bracket. So if you want to go to Masters.com, to go to our website, and there's a link there at 3guyswholovesports.com, and join in the fun. We're also giving away a $25 gift card for Millers for that, and Rick Limpert's got some prizes, some golf prizes that we're going to be giving away for that as well. So we will start with the youngest person here. That's Dan. Adam. Adam, give us your 4 picks, and it's got to be a former champion, an American, a foreign international player, and a wild card.
Okay.
So shoot with your former champion.
Scotty Scheffler.
Okay.
It's an easy pick. You're not going to beat Scotty Scheffler.
So he's your pick to win?
He's my pick to win, but he's also my past champion.
So if he wins, how many times would have been done? Back-to-back championships?
4 times.
It will be the 4th time.
Tiger.
Yeah.
Nicholas.
Yeah.
And Palmer.
Nope. Nick Faldo.
Oh, Nick Faldo.
Nick
Sir,
Faldo.
Sir Nick Faldo.
Sir Nick Faldo, yes. And to you as well.
So I got Scotty Scheffler, Will Zalatoris, because I love Will Zalatoris.
Yeah, Will's been kind of down in the back. He had to pull out of the last tournament he played.
He has, but he usually plays well at Augusta.
He does.
My international player is Victor Hovland.
Okay.
Hovland's played well recently. And my wild card is Dustin Johnson, because Dustin Johnson always plays well at Augusta.
Take him off, would you please?
No.
LIV
In
athlete. I don't
in
know
fact,
what
I'm going to change my international player to Cam Smith.
Oh, beautiful. All right. Dan, how about you?
I went Spieth for past champion.
Spieth for
He's
past
had
champion?
kind of a rough go lately. And
Yeah.
I hope to see him go well. Matt, the Masters is probably one of his best tournaments over the course of the year.
Everybody talks about Tiger knowing the course well, but all these people have played it a lot
Yeah.
now. Those that have been around a while have played it a lot.
You're going to see some of that consistently with my picks.
Yeah.
Well, the weather. I mean, you look at the weather this weekend, and you need somebody who's consistently been good. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's not going to be pretty.
Yeah. Okay, so you're American player?
Dustin Johnson, which I agree with you. He's the devil. But he's very, very – I think his average finish is in the top 10.
Other than the year he pulled out, yeah.
Jon Rahm, international. And then I think in my overall pick to win is Rory McIlroy. I feel like if it is a nasty weather week, you got the best driver in the tour. He can break through some amazing par 5 stuff.
And they play a lot of that rain golf over there where he's from,
Yeah.
too, in Ireland. So.
I mean, it's been 14 attempts for him.
Yeah.
So it'd be awesome if it were his year.
I think it's his 9th attempt. No, 9th since he won.
Yes.
Or 9th since he blew it.
They
Yeah,
were
Since he won a
they were saying on the par 3 contest, though, that there's an amateur who played with Rory
I heard this.
either yesterday or the day before who outdrove Rory
Wow.
on just about every hole.
I heard about that.
So if
Well-
they said he might be the longest player in the field.
Let's
so.
get that guy in
Yeah.
this list.
Well, how about
Yeah.
Tom Kim getting to play with Freddie Couples and and Rory and Tiger on Sunday? What a great experience for him, huh? All right. So my far is I've got Scotty Scheffler as my past champion. I think he will become the 4th. I want McIlroy. McIlroy is my international player. Sam Burns is actually my American. Sam played very well at the Dell match play last week, which I really loved. I loved watching that. And my wild card is Xander Schauffele. Xander Schauffele has made 20 straight cuts, more than anybody else on the tour, and he plays very well every other year at Augusta, according to his records. So Xander Schauffele is my wild card pick for the tournament. So Robert, it's all up to you, baby.
Well, I can't pull up my list currently. I don't know why, but I think it's going to be – close your ears for a second, Jeff. I think this is going to be an LIV moment.
Oh,
I
my God.
really somebody like Dustin Johnson coming through, hoping on Jon Rahm to possibly move it the other direction. But I think that man, although I know I didn't pick Mullet Man in my bracket, of course, I was picking the names so quickly. I got worried when I got to the wild card, and I decided I'm going to start on the bottom half of the list and work my way up. And right off the bat, I saw Will Zalatoris, and I like him in this type of moment. But
Okay.
I think it's going to be really nice, and I think it's going to have to come down to your boy McIlroy defending the PGA against the LIV, because I think those guys are coming.
Well, let me tell you this. I see how much time we've got. Oh, we've still have 5 minutes. So you know how much I despise LIV, but I really heard some rational discussion this week about why they couldn't. They go from playing on these municipal courses, and they play 3 rounds, not 4, what is their incentive to win on these cases? It's a totally different game when you go from okay, I've already got my money, let me just play, and do I pull for the team or do I pull for me? Or do they really have the drive to do this after playing on the LIV tour? And how many? There's 16 LIV players, is that right, Adam?
Yes.
16. So each year there's going to be less because now they have to qualify to play in the Masters, and they're not playing on U.S. soil, so they don't have the, if you win a tournament or be in the top 50 of the world, but they don't get world ranking points, right? So fewer and fewer LIV players are going to be able to play unless they solve this issue. But I don't think the drive's there, and I don't say that because I don't like them, but I heard enough talk on Golf Channel this week that says, that how can they do it? They go from that course to this course, and saw a little bit of that today when Sergio Garcia was putting on these greens, and he wasn't even close on some of the shots. It's just my take, and I understand everybody has their own take. I hope by the time Saturday morning comes around, there's not one LIV player left. But
you're right, John. I don't think them playing only 3 days for the last 9 months is going to take them out of the equation for being able to play 4 rounds. And we'll see what happens. It's looking like pretty good weather, but it should be cold on the weekend, correct?
No, it's supposed to rain every day.
The weather's
tomorrow.
going to be terrible.
Yeah.
It's going to be 70 and raining on Friday. It's going to be 50 and raining on Saturday. And it's going to be 60 and raining on Sunday.
So it's not going to be a great.
Bodes well for McIlroy defending the faith.
We should see
Anybody
a lot.
From
Yeah, we should see a lot of birdies, though, because the greens are going to be pretty soft. So you'll really be able to stick it right next to the pin, which I think is crucial on some of these holes. Like on 2, sometimes they place the flag in the back, the back left as you're standing in the fairway, which is hard to reach.
That's on
a dry day.
Typical Saturday.
Yeah.
Sunday's the far right-hand pin placement on 2. What's your number of birdies for you to put down for your tiebreaker? Do you remember?
I think I put down 120.
120?
Yeah.
The average is over 900.
Yeah, last year was 800 and something.
You could see the weather could impact them.
What was the year that the winner was +1?
That was Mike Weir.
That was Mike Weir.
Yeah.
It was 2003.
The weather is potentially going to create a scenario like that.
Yeah,
it's
I
going to
think
be nasty.
But it might slow down the greens and make the putting easier. Yeah. I don't know because
that's a good point.
There's the slickest greens in the world.
For my game, I would like that.
I put 888 as my birdies. Last year I think it was over 1,000, but the average is somewhere around 900. So you just think about it, that's a lot of golfers. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. Robert, do you remember what you put as your tiebreaker?
I Googled what there was last year, and it seemed to me like it was 260. So I'm not sure Google gave me good information.
No,
but
Google,
that was Thursday.
That was just one day.
Last year was 832.
So I'm about double.
Yeah.
I'm about double of Mike Weir and a quarter of the rest of you.
Yeah, Larry said 832 was the number of birdies last year. So
I went 775.
775.
Yeah, but I'm like, it could be 500 if it's nasty like it's supposed to be.
I'd bet my left leg there's more than 500 birdies, but we'll see. If I come in out without a left leg next week, y'all know what happened. Robert, have you eaten at Bono's Barbecue yet?
What's that?
Have you eaten at Bono's Barbecue yet?
I have not, but when I go to the beach, I'm not usually thinking barbecue. I was a little thrown off when you gave me a suggestion, and it was barbecue.
Very good stuff, though. They got more stuff there than barbecue, but it's a good place. Well, we miss you here, buddy, and we'll get back on it next week with who wears number 2, the greatest athlete that ever wore number 2. So
I will.
Absolutely. Great stuff today, and I look forward to being back next week.
Do your research, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Safe travels home.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So that's our Masters recap. We got a lot of stuff going on. Dan, as always, buddy, thanks for being on. And again, congrats, ATI. Good job. And we got another show coming up at 7 o'clock, all about KSU sports. and Mr. Rick Limpert will be co-hosting with me for that. And we've got all the track teams coming to be a part of this. So it should be a fun night here at Miller's Ale House. Come out. The show starts at 7 o'clock. Until then, guys, know your numbers, protect your ass. We'll see you soon.